Yeah, we will. I mean, like every day we're learning more, and like I said in the quote you had, it is a bit of enigma. Numbers are going up every quarter. Demand is off the charts. All of these companies are running flat out. Everybody's still crying about supply constraints throughout the industry, and yet investor conviction is getting worried. Most semi investors have seen this movie before. They do worry that we're getting close to peak, and in fact, over the last 3 months, I think forward estimates have gone up something like 15%. Multiples have come down, 5 to 10%. I mean, the stocks have gone up, but not nearly as much as the numbers. Conviction is just waning. And it's sort of interesting because, again, by definition, mathematically, every day we're getting closer to peak. And there's a lot of like cross currents in terms of things, good signs and bad signs. It's very hard to kind of get a feel for what's going on. But I actually do think it's entirely plausible we could be close to peak for quite a while. Most of the companies, the car companies and everybody else are talking about shortages lasting well into next year. This is not an implausible thing. So, I mean, this is going to look good until it doesn't, and we'll see how long conviction can kind of stay here as investors continue to worry about sustainability as we get into next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a lot smarter on this even next week. We got AMD CEO Lisa Su at Code, hoping to get some insight from Qualcomm, but also we're starting to get these product announcements from the likes of Amazon and Microsoft rolling out to just get a sense of how confident they are and what their plans are for these products into the coming year. What would you ask the chip designers, chip makers right now about what they're seeing Q4-wise in their plans for the beginning of 22?
Yeah, I mean, so you need to remember, most semiconductor companies, their actual visibility into what actual true end demand is doing is precisely zero. They have no idea. And I'm not knocking them. It's not bad. It just is. What they see are the orders in front of their face. Right now, those orders are incredibly strong, and I don't really expect that to change, over the next week or two. We actually just went through a bunch of conferences over the last several weeks. By and large, the tone coming out, I think your earlier guest called it constructive. I think that's a good word for it. It's been very constructive. Order patterns right now are very strong. They will be strong until they're not, but I don't expect that to change like the next week or two.
But Stacey, as you look at this strong demand, aren't there signs of deceleration, say, in the PC market? Are there areas where you see weakness in the coming year?
Well, let's talk about a few of these sort of discrepancies. So PCs is a great example. PCs have been incredibly strong. I mean, we did 250 million PCs pre-COVID. 2010, we did 300 million. 2021, we're on track to do 340 or 350. Massive growth. We've started to see some PCs, like especially Chromebooks, they'll start to roll over. And I am actually convinced, you talk about like inventory build and everything. I'm convinced that CPUs have been overshipping, especially in the notebooks, by a wide amount. I think over the last several quarters, CPU shipments have been overshipping notebooks by 30%. So I actually do think that if we see anything start to roll over, it's likely to start in PCs. Now, we can contrast this, say, with automotive, and obviously that's been an area where there's been a lot of issues. Auto semis today, if you compare to, say 2018, like pre-COVID, they're probably 20% or even more higher today than they were. If you look at auto shipments, however, they are 10% lower, give or take. So there's a massive discrepancy between auto semi-strength and autos. But at the same time, the auto vendors, they're actually having real production shortages. So like whatever they're buying, and they're buying a lot, they're obviously not getting enough of what they need to build the cars, right? So you have a lot of these things going on. It's actually different in every end market. PCs is one I would actually be watching, though, in terms of what we're watching for potentially rolling over first.